It's 4:30 in the morning and Greg and I are up for one last sunrise in Tbilisi. I cannot believe that 3 weeks here is over already. It's kind of just whipped by. So Greg and I are headed back to that viewpoint above the sulfur baths where we met that family and had that shoot in the rain. And when I shot that image in the rain, I wasn't really a fan of it. I didn't think I liked it. But when I got it home onto the computer, I was okay with it. I was fine with it. But that being said, even though I have that image, I don't really have a colorful sunrise or sunset shot from here in Tbilisi. Every time we've gone out, we've gotten shut out. We've gotten some blue hour images, but nothing really punchy and colorful. So that's what we're hoping to get this morning. And yeah, it's a little bit of a walk up to get there. So we're up at this amazing viewpoint of Tbilisi. It's probably our favorite spot in the city. It's just unreal. And we're up here by ourselves. It's like peaceful, tranquil. And yeah, I just love watching the city wake up. From a light perspective, I don't know what's gonna happen. It looks like we might get unlucky again. There's no clouds anywhere in the sky, except for where the sun's rising, like the one spot that the sun's gonna rise. So we're kind of just gonna sit back and wait and hope that these clouds move and that the sun finds a spot to rise up like a phoenix from the Georgian, yeah, and anyway, we're hoping the sun rises behind there. So the sun's up-ish behind some haze that way. There is some light hitting the top levels of the cloud, so I have a little bit of hope. Now, what I'm doing with my camera is I have not moved it. I have not moved my camera. I haven't moved the zoom. I haven't done anything. I haven't touched it. But in the blue light, at the end of the blue light, when the buildings were still lit, I took a picture. And I actually don't plan on doing a composite. I just do this every now and then when I think potentially the light might be a little bit interesting, so that I have that option. So the idea now is to just wait and hope that these clouds light up, and then I can blend the two images together. The image of town with all the light still on it, and then a colorful sky on top of it. Things that very rarely happen together, because usually they shut the town lights off, as they've done right now, well before you get any sort of sunrise light. If that happens, I'll take you into the computer to show you how quickly I do this composite, how quickly I put these two images together. This is fun. I really enjoy just sitting and watching for the light and trying to figure out what it's gonna do. Right now, the light's catching the top of the clouds. And when Tom and I did our video, our little Q&A a little while ago, we talked about high-level clouds and why they're so important. And the reason they're so important is because the sun can come through the bottom and light them up from the bottom. And then you get the really colorful skies. When the clouds are too low, the light catches the top of them and you get the light on the top. But I find it really fun sitting and waiting for the light because we can actually see back that way. The sun's coming up behind some haze and it's lighting up like the edge of these clouds here, and we're trying to predict, or at least hoping it, wishing it, for this light to push over the city so we get some color in the sky. I just asked Greg, what's happening with the light? Is it gonna come through? Is it still at the bottom or is it at the top? And he goes, oh yeah, it's at the top. It's not gonna happen. And then he goes, oh, it's coming through right after I gave up on my shot. I just given up on my composition. Ah, Greg. Anyways, it does look like we're gonna get some underglow on this. And you know what? I am gonna take you into the computer and show you how to do that composite, even though it's not gonna be the way I was hoping to do it because the light changed. So the light's good, not great, but it's good. It's not dramatic, and I was hoping for a really colorful, dramatic sky, kind of like what we have over there. But right over the city, it's kind of chilled out a little bit. And I'm kind of a believer that if it doesn't look dramatic, there's always a way to make it dramatic. And I'm doing that with a 4-stop grad ND that's a medium ND and a 10-stop ND, and I'm shooting a 4-minute exposure because the clouds, they're nice. They are nice, but it looks almost like a snapshot if you shoot it without a long exposure. By chucking on a long exposure, it should create like a painting look in the sky, and as long as I've exposed it properly, I think this could come out really cool. Okay, we're done. We didn't exactly get great light, but it worked. We got a different shot than last time, and we also have another new dog.
Yeah, new peace dog.
They're not all called peace dog. There's only one peace dog,
This
Greg.
one's not really peaceful either. He's a bit of aggressive dog.
This dog got really protective of us. Another dog came up and started walking with us, and he just like chased it away. It was intense. Yeah, we're heading back home for a bit of a nap. I'm not gonna end the vlog now. I'm gonna show you guys how to do that quick composite. Even though I don't think it's gonna work on this image because the first image is way too dark. Woohoo! Second image is way too bright. And but I'm gonna show you how to do it in case you guys wanna do it. So I'm gonna take you back and do that. And then I think we're gonna say goodbye to Tbilisi. Okay, back home and on the computer, and I mentioned that I was going to show you guys how to do like this composite really quick. It's not gonna look great, I don't think. And I haven't done it yet, so I don't know that for sure. I'm just guessing on the scenario. The lights on the buildings came off too soon. There wasn't a lot of color in the sky. I don't think it's gonna work. Okay, so I'm in my laptop. I've got the images open, and before I even get into these images, I should mention that I'm really happy with how they came out at the end. Not when I was compositing, but just the very last couple images. This image, for example, this is the 4-minute exposure I did. I love how this came out, and this kind of works as my big cityscape image that I was hoping to get the whole time. This is the magazine cover, if you will. And I'm going to talk about that tomorrow on tomorrow's episode. I'm going to sit down, go over my images, my favorite photos from Georgia, and talk about the photo story. So stoked with that image. I'm going to show you the composite because I promised I would. This is the dark image. You can see the city lights are lit up. Literally 1 minute after I took this photo, the lights went off. This is the sunrise, I guess, where there's just not a lot of color at all yet. So that's why it's not going to work. For one, the first image, the lights were shut off too early in the evening. And for the second image, I just didn't get sunrise light at this point in the shoot. And then I moved my tripod, as you saw, because Greg convinced me we weren't going to get light. But I'm going to show you guys how this works anyway. Basically, in Lightroom, I'm going to edit both images really fast for whatever they're going to be used in the final image. So for this image, I'm only using the foreground, all the lit up part of the image. I don't care what happens to the sky. It should be a super quick edit, basically just a color correct and maybe brighten it up a little bit just because I know that the final image, I want it to be a little bit brighter than this looks. So something like that. Also looks a little bit green, so we'll bring the purple up a little bit on the tint. Yeah, it looks about right. Yeah, I want to contrast it out a little bit more to sharpen it, and then we're good. Moving on to the sunrise, this might take a little bit more editing. Remember, the foreground doesn't matter, all I care about is the sky. So I'm gonna lighten things up with the whites and the shadows. I'm gonna punch the contrast to get some darkness in that sky, maybe bring back the blacks a little bit. Vibrance up to 50. I might even go crazy with the color a little bit because it needs it. Something like 15. Sky looks a little bit bluish and probably a little bit greenish. You get nice and purple to match the foreground that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bring down the highlights, bring the contrast up a bit more even. Get a really, really dark scene. And then that's it for that. When the two images are edited, you just select them both in the bottom, right click, and then edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. Click on that, and then they come into Photoshop as edited layers. And they'll show up right over here. And here we have them. We have the top one is the darker image, and then the brighter one's below it, right there. They're identical even though they don't look it. I didn't move the tripod. If you keep your eyes on like the tower, you'll see it doesn't move at all. Just the lights come on. And basically with this edit, all I'm trying to do is bring out the lit part of the bottom. So we're gonna go down here. This is to add a layer mask. And we've got the top layer selected. Gonna click on that. Then we're gonna go over to the gradient tool. It's at opacity 100. And we're gonna just slide it like that. And now all of a sudden we have the sky from the bottom layer. You can see I've just done that. It's that simple. Now we got the sky that has color, and in an ideal world there would be a really bright, colorful sky, and it would save us from having this dull blue sky. And that's the idea. So yeah, like quickly, again, you're just gradient masking, and then you can actually, after you've done gradient masking that, you can grab this brush, the brush tool, and just paint in the little extra areas that might have gotten missed. So over here, all this stuff, you see it just lightening up. That all got missed in the gradient. And that's the final image. If you hit save, Control S, save, it's gonna save it here in Photoshop. And then if we flip back to Lightroom, it's actually brought it right back into Lightroom next to the two original files, or actually in between the two original files. If we click on the info, it says edit TIFF, it's now a TIFF file, and then you can actually add little bits of work to this image if you want. For example, if you want to now darken the sky a little bit to make it match a little bit more, you can do stuff like that. So it's a really good technique. Even if it didn't work so much on this image, it's a nice technique to use. And a lot of photographers use this technique. Yeah, it can be helpful. Maybe go out and test it at some point. Anyways, we're still here in Tbilisi today. One last day. So maybe I'll take you on a little bit of a walk around town. Heading up to Art House for one last work session in Tbilisi. I cannot believe that it's all kind of coming to an end. So it's kind of sad leaving Tbilisi. It's been good to me, it's been good to us. We've had a good month here, or 3+ weeks. We've been getting fit, we've been getting some cool images, we've been enjoying the food, the people. Yeah, it's been what we needed, really. And yeah, I'm excited about coming back here in a couple of years. I'm excited about a new adventure starting tomorrow as well. I am ready for a change of scenery. This was some of the longest I've ever stayed in one place in ages, probably since Buenos Aires, like over a year and a half ago when I was bored out of my mind. But yeah, this has been good and exactly what we needed, and I am ready for that next adventure. What that next adventure is, I guess you're gonna have to tune in tomorrow to find out. I'll see you there. Peace.